Hi there, how are you today? So in this video I wanted to talk about spiritual awakening, how it can happen for you or how it happens. So for this one I thought I'd go through what happened for me the first time, because I tend to find that there's many levels of awakening. There's not just the, oh, you awaken and it's done. So I thought I'd go through that in this video, just to give you an idea. To be spiritually awakened is to be aware of your spirit. That's basically what spiritually awakened means. And for me, what happened was, throughout my whole adult life, I was this beautiful human being having all these beautiful experiences. And, you know, I got to the point where, as I've said in previous videos, you know, my husband and I spent over 15 years trying to have a baby. And eventually we went through IVF and we ended up with the daughter that we have now. We got a beautiful baby out of that IVF. For me, that was the deal breaker for me. That's what, it's like there's a moment where you just can't see things the same anymore. Like everything seems to collapse around you. That's what happened with me. I had this very strong belief within myself that the day I became a mother, I would be able to pour all my love into this beautiful being, into this beautiful child, and I wouldn't feel worthless anymore, ever again. You know, I'd never get to feel worthless again. I'd never feel that I wasn't good enough again. I thought that this one magical moment was going to change everything for me. And it did, but not in the way that I expected, you know, because I had this expectation that when she came, my heart would be so full of love that nothing else would matter. This love for this beautiful little being that had just come into my life, you know? And so I had her, and, you know, I love her dearly. She knows I adore her. I would do anything for her, you know? There's no doubt of the love that I have for my daughter. She, you know, I don't doubt it, she doesn't doubt it, my husband can see, everyone can see, you know, my love for her. But, you know, leading up to that point, there was a certain anger within my system and a fear, you know, and this sadness that I'd been carrying throughout my whole life. And I thought that once this magical moment happened of my daughter being born, that all of these things would just disappear somehow magically. I would be so in love with this beautiful little being that all of that would disappear and wouldn't matter anymore. And it didn't disappear. If anything, some of it got worse. You know, like the worthlessness got bigger. The not being good enough got bigger, you know. And that was the point where I realized, well, hang on a minute. You know, that was my biggest belief. I was so sure that was true, that was going to happen as soon as she was born, you know, that my life would change forever. And so I started to question, you know, well, if this isn't true because nothing has changed from how I was feeling before, what else is not true, you know? And it was in the first few years of her being born, I think it was in that very first year, I remember one day I was just very sleep deprived and I was having a conversation with my husband, and I can't remember what the conversation was. All I can remember was one line of the conversation that he said to me. And it was this: "You're still looking at your mother like you're 5 years old." And so I put it to you today. Are you still looking at your parents like you're 5 years old? Are you still looking at them from the eyes of a 5-year-old? That one question burned in my mind for months. It just stayed with me. It was like someone had just, you know, shoved a stake through me and left it there. You know, I just felt like, it was a thorn in my side when he said that. It was like, I couldn't shake it. It just stayed with me and it stuck with me, and it made me more angry and more aggravated and more everything. It like it really stirred everything inside of me that was already unbalanced, you know? And it was from there that the first book, you know, my mother-in-law and I signed up to do this self-esteem course for children. And I thought at the time that I was going to be learning all these beautiful skills to give my daughter all the self-esteem, all the confidence, you know, that she was going to need to get her through this life. And we found as we were doing the course with my mother-in-law that we were addressing all our own issues through this course. It was just amazing. All our childhood issues were coming to light with this beautiful course, you know? And from there, I just got a bee in my bonnet that I had to write down every single event that I could think of, everything that I could remember from my childhood. I wanted to write it all down, all of it, everything I could remember. What actually happened, the actual just event without my interpretation of it, then my interpretation of it, and then what I took away from it, what beliefs were created because of those events. Beliefs like I'm not good enough, beliefs like I'm not worthy, beliefs like love is taken away was the biggest one for me, because I was loved for the first 5 years of my life. I felt that I was loved. But then when I was 5 and my sister came along, I felt like love was taken away. And that for me was a big one, a big belief that had been created. Love can be taken away, you know? So for me, the awakening happened there, that moment came and went, and I was so sure that that was going to change my whole life. It was going to change everything for me. And the days passed and I was getting angrier, and the days passed and I was getting, you know, there was this sadness that was starting to build up in me again, that, oh, you know, I don't get it. What are we supposed to be doing here? I'm sure it's not this, you know? That's what I felt. It felt like. I'm sure that whatever we were meant to be doing here is not this. That's what I felt like. I felt like really, like I was in a prison, like I was confined. I couldn't explain it, and I couldn't see the cell around me. I couldn't see the bars, but I could feel them. And as the years have passed since writing that first book and going through every single event and every single belief I've created, and realizing that each belief that I've created is not true, that I'm not worthy is not true, that I'm not good enough is not true. And I'm here to tell you that I don't deserve is not true. And I'm here to tell you that they're not only are they not true for me, but they're not true for you either. These are things that we decide about ourselves as we're moving through life, but they're not true. And that's what makes us feel bad inside, that they're not true. And from that moment, I've just been dropping beliefs here and there. Nah, not true, not true. And it's funny because my husband's been challenging my beliefs from the first day we've got together. You know, from the very first day, every time I say something, he'll be like, why do you believe that? And then I'll go off for a few days, you know, why do I believe that? Why? Where did it come from? Because when you come into the world, you're not born with any of these beliefs. You're not born with any of these thoughts. You are just love, pure, unwavering, unconditional, beautiful love. That's all you are when you arrive. And then all these things we take on as we're going through life, but we usually take them on from the grown-ups around us. We learn these things. We learn that we're not good enough. We learn that we're not worthy from the people that raise us. But when we came into the world, we didn't come in with this knowing, with these thoughts, with these ideas. We didn't come in knowing that we're not good enough. We didn't come in knowing that we're not worthy. We didn't come in knowing that we're not love and that we're not loved. You don't come in with this. This is something you learn here in this simulation. That's what we're here for. So a spiritual awakening can happen at any time when you feel you've had enough, of you decide, well, hang on, none of this has worked. Have you ever, realized that you have a belief and you follow it to the end, and it always leaves you empty? It never takes you to where you really wanted to go with that belief. The beliefs you have about what's going to make you happy. Think about every belief that you have that's going to bring you joy. Really think about them. And do you really think they're going to bring you joy? With my daughter, it was love. I thought that was what was going to bring me love. It's going to make me full of love, and my yearning for love was over. Or peace. What beliefs do you have? What do you need to have or do to have peace? That's funny, because all the while, this is what we are in our natural state. We are love in our natural state. We are joy in our natural state. We are peace in our natural state. That's why all these other things don't feel natural. And they make us feel bad because they're not who we really are. We just come here to experience them. So to be spiritually awakened is to be aware, to be awake to the fact that you are spirit and you're moving around in this human form to have all these experiences. It's actually stepping back. When we come in, we are the love. And we turn our back on that love so that we can have this human experience. We have to forget that we are that love to have the human experience. And to be spiritually awakened is to return to that love that we left behind, to realize that that's who we were the whole time. That's who we are, that beautiful love. All this other stuff, it's just that beautiful love, that beautiful energies come in to explore itself, to discover itself, to know itself more fully. That's what that's all about. But to be spiritually awakened is to return to the love you are. It's remembering that you are the love. You wake up one day to the love you are. All right, my darlings. Let me know where you are on your journey. Have you had an awakening yet? There's different, like I said, there's different levels of awakening. There's the awakening where you realize that there's more than just this human experience you're having. There's more. There's so much more. And you begin to observe you. You begin to become fascinated with you, with your behavior, with your experience. Why am I going through this? What is this? You become fascinated with it, curious about your life. What am I to gain from this? Why am I going through this? They are the questions for spiritual awakening. What am I to gain from this? What was I supposed to gain? Why did I have this experience? And then there come awakenings where you start to realize, and this will be the next video, that there are other dimensions around us, and there are other beings around us waiting to assist. And then there are awakenings to the fact that we've had thousands of past lifetimes. that past lifetimes exist. You wake up to that reality. And then one of the most beautiful awakenings I've had is being able to see when people pass, or when, not just people, you know, I've had the blessing of the latest dog that we had. When he passed, and we took him to the vet, and he was so old he could hardly walk, and they put in the injection, and I'm holding him as they put the injection in. And when I hear the very last heartbeat in my hand, and I can see that, you know, he's asleep, completely asleep now, I get to see his beautiful spirit running around the room, just like when he was a puppy and he used to chase the swallows up at the park. And he was running and running and loops and loops and laps and laps and laps and laps. And then he stops right in front of me. And just like when he was a puppy, he sat right in front of me and he looked up at me, and I could hear the words, "Thank you, Mum." And off he went. And since then, I've seen passings of other people that I wasn't that close to, but I got to see their beautiful spirit leave their body. I got to see their spirit leave their body and enter, and being received with so much love and so much joy. You have no idea on the other side, the beings that were waiting for them. And just the love and the joy on the other side that is felt is so overwhelming. It's so beautiful. And some that I didn't get to see pass over, but I see them now that they've passed. You know, some of my relatives that have passed, I can see them on the other side, and they come to visit when I call them in. So in the next video, we're going to talk about that, how you can begin to communicate with the beings on the other side, because some people are interested in that. So I'd like to cover as many topics as we can in the beginning, and then you let me know in the comments what it is that you want to know more about, you want to learn more about, or what we can give you more information about, more meditations to help you connect with something. As the videos pass, let us know what it is that you want to know more of, okay, so that we can put it together for you. That's what we're here for, to serve you. Okay, all right, my darlings, I love you guys. So remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages. And my beautiful Boshi boy, he was so beautiful. It was the first time I got to see a spirit leave this world and into the spirit world. It was really beautiful. All right, my darlings, bye for now.